So clean, you can throw dirt on my name, won't keep me down. So proud of myself, wish the old me could see me now. Turn heads.
You know, I just ended a relationship, a 14-year relationship at my age. You know why? After 14 years, I recognize he don't love me the way I want to be loved. I just don't want to be loved like this. See, I don't get to tell people how to love me. I get to see how they love and then choose if I want to participate. So for 14 years, I was hoping, okay, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. And then I said, you know what? He ain't getting it. And it's okay. I don't choose to participate in the way he loves. I got a bunch of degrees, and it took me 14 years to get that. Thank God I couldn't get pregnant. So, you know, you get to make that choice and look at carefully and consciously and honestly, ruthlessly, what you did and how you did it so that you don't do that ever again.
All right, guys, so I'm on a roll. It'll probably be like my last video for this type of outfit. And yeah, I pretty much want to update you guys on my life. I've gone for a while. I like to give little updates because a lot has changed. Again, I've been gone for probably about a year, almost 2 years, and a lot has changed since then. I have to kind of be careful with this video because I don't want to. I'm transparent, but I try to be respectful of other people's feelings. To an extent. Again, I have to tell my truth, but at the same time, I have to remember I can't just blat it all out there. So some things are still going to be restricted to an extent, but I'm going to give you all an idea, you know, just still trying to be respectful. Yeah, if you've been following me on my social media, you probably have already noticed what my update is. But for those of you who are not following me, like on Instagram, Facebook, I won't say Twitter because I don't really talk about my intimate life like that on Twitter. Yeah, I'm just here to update you that I made a video a few years back about my marriage and things that I went through. But yeah, my marriage is over. I left. I filed for divorce. That took a process. That took a while. But yeah, my life is completely changed. And unless you've been married, you won't really truly understand where I'm coming from. And even if you have been married, everyone's marriage is different. But at least those people who are married or who have been divorced, you know, you kind of understand how marriage is. I'm at a point now where I no longer hate my ex-husband, but I won't say I'm like ecstatic either. I'm like kind of indifferent. I'm kind of like just, it is what it is type of mentality, because at the end of the day, what can you do but accept what has happened and move forward? Which was a struggle for me for a long time. Even before I filed, even before I left, I struggled with the idea of knowing that my marriage had failed. I didn't want to be seen as a failure or a loser or a typical black statistic mom, single now with 4 kids, you know. It wasn't the life I envisioned for myself. That wasn't, my plan was not what I thought God had planned for me. But just looking back at so many things, what if I rushed ahead of God? What if, just a lot of things I think about. But at the end of the day, I did everything I could do. In my personal belief, I fought the good fight again. You hear from someone else's account, they might not agree, and that's fine. That's their feelings. I can't invalidate that. But just coming from my mouth personally, I know I tried. I have diaries, I have books, I have proof of things of me literally crying myself to sleep, praying for my marriage, praying for my husband. And something that I can't wrap my head around, even still to this very moment, is that I write to God a lot because I find myself after I cry, I get angry. And sometimes what comes out my mouth is not the best. So I feel like if I write it out, I have time to think about it before I just whoop. So I like to write to him. And everything that I've ever wrote to God, I've asked him for, he's given it to me. But this particular thing, no, he didn't. And it caused a rift between my relationship with God because I became very angry with him. Very, extremely angry with him. And even still to this very day, I'm cleaning up the pieces from that and I'm trying to get back to a place, not even before, because I'm never going to be the woman that I was before. But even better, with more wisdom, more knowledge, more grace. I believe God has you go through things sometimes to help you learn what grace is so you can extend it to others in certain areas. Because when I first got saved, I was very harsh with people in judgment. And it's not to say that I didn't have the word to back me up, but it's like, dude, you've never been through this. Until you walk around in someone's shoes, you never know what they go through. But God has definitely humbled me with this experience. And as much as I got angry with him and I tried to run away from God, he brought me right back to him. And I just have to accept the fact that he never answered that prayer. And I don't know, maybe he just never will. I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter for me. But I would hope in the future, because we do have kids together, that God will still answer that prayer. It just will be valid for the next woman. You know, I've always been the person to say, even with marriage, if I don't make you happy, if you don't feel that I'm the one for you, that you don't love me anymore, put me out my misery. You know, like the worst thing you can do to me is lead me on and drag something out that's probably should have never been. You know, and so a lot of times for me, I found myself, I've always left the relationship first. We might have did a little dance back and forth, but I was always the one to initially pick up and leave because I know my worth and I know what I love and I know what I hate. I know what I can tolerate and I know what I can't. And yeah, when you marry a person, just like a relationship, you're not going to always be happy with them. You're not going to always see eye to eye. But in those moments of argument, in those moments of not seeing eye to eye, you all should still love one another and have respect for one another. And that was lacking big time in my marriage. Some of my friends even told me they could tell, even when we recorded together, that he just wasn't really there. That the connection kind of seemed a little off. And I can definitely see that he wasn't really a camera person, and that's fine. You know, there's no shame in that. But there was a lot of other things we just were not compatible with. And even though I love Paul Washer and he says compatibility doesn't matter, it does. There's something I don't agree with. It does. Can compatibility save your marriage? Maybe, but probably not. But the thing is, compatibility can make any relationship, friendship, marriage a lot better. Again, when you marry, you marry for better or for worse. Not for better or for better, not for worse or for worse. And it just was a lot more down days than there were up. And I'm not going to put all the blame on him because, again, it takes two to tango, as we know. It's never just going to be one person's fault. But again, I will say I try with all of my heart and soul. I cried many, 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 many nights. And nothing changed. Nothing. And I'm telling you, everything I've ever written God about, everything, He has answered. Did He do it in 5 minutes? No. Did He do it in 2 months? No. Did He do it in 1 year? Maybe not. But eventually that prayer got answered. Not this one. This is the only one that He has never responded to. And I honestly don't know how to feel about that. Someone has an opinion or something about that, leave that down in the comment section, but I honestly don't know why. And again, his life isn't over yet, so maybe God will. It just won't, again, it won't be for me. And because me and him have to co-parent, as much as the pain and stuff I endured, I wanted to put that behind me because for the children's sake, I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be hateful. I don't want to be resentful. You know, I love my boys, and mainly because of them is another reason why I left. Because the thing is, people can brag all day long about coming from a two-parent household. Mind you, my ex-husband came from a two-parent household. There's a lot of men who come from a two-parent household, and guess what? They are still jacked up. They still don't know how to love their wives. They still don't pay attention to their wives. They still fail them. But you came from a two-parent household, right? That's the best formula. Would you like to come from a two-parent household? Of course. But does that make you better? Does that mean you're going to come out to be this amazing person? No. Absolutely not. You know, and the way that how me and my ex-husband was going, it was bad. It got really nasty towards the end. And if I would have just forced it and kept forcing it to stay, I don't want to say on camera, but it would have really been way worse. And the thing is, I don't want my boys to grow up in a toxic environment. I want my boys to have a loving, caring home. So that's why I left. And it hurts me. It hurts me even still now. Because I miss that family dynamic. I prayed for that. But it just wasn't going to work. And we were together for about 7.5, 8 years. And again, like I said, I'm not going to put all the blame on him. There were things where I guess I could have been a lot better at. But I still believe it would have turned out the same. I don't believe I could have made such a huge difference to the point where my marriage would have just miraculously turned around just off of me. You know, with marriage, God is always going to look at the man first. And I want people to really understand that. In the garden, God came after Adam first, then Eve. And what I actually learned, going back recently, God gave the commandment to Adam alone. Eve wasn't even there. So a husband is supposed to lead his wife and his kids. That is a responsibility. That is a commandment. And if you don't, he says you're worse than a non-believer. If you treat your wife harshly, your prayers will be hindered. And again, I grew hatred and bitterness and resentment towards my husband because of the things he wasn't doing. And in return, I responded nasty. I had a bad attitude. Anybody that saw us out would be like, "Oh my goodness, what's going on with her?" Because I was so bitter about it. It was like literally seeping through my pores. And even if we weren't even arguing, I just had this look on my face. You could just tell I was not happy. And I'm such a bubbly and joyful person that hurts. I don't want to be a bitter woman. I don't want to be a hateful woman. When people see me, I want them to see that I'm happy. But I wasn't happy where I was at. And it's not just about happiness, because best believe you're not going to always be happy. Happy is when things are happening. But the thing was, I wasn't valued. I was not valued. I was not cherished. I was not loved the way that I needed to be loved. And I'm going to insert a clip by Ayana. And I'm going to let you guys watch it. But she pretty much sums it up. Somebody can love you in the best of their ability. And guess what? It will still never be enough, because it's not the love that you need. It's not the love that you require. That's why people can tell you, "I love you" all day long, but it would never feel like it. And what if they really do? You don't have the right, I learned, you don't have the right to tell another person that they don't love you. What if they love you, but that's the only way they know how to love you? But does that mean that's what you're supposed to accept or settle for? No. No, absolutely not. If that's the only way they know how to love you, okay, give them that credit that they love you. But you're still miserable and hurt in the inside, because it's not the love that you need. It's not the love that's going to fill your tank. Why do you think God commands a man to love his wife? A woman has to feel loved by her husband, by her man. And if she doesn't, it's a recipe for disaster. Same thing, a man needs respect. It's not a man a man wants it, but it's beyond the want. He needs it. He doesn't just want you to submit to him. He needs your submission. I made that video about why submitting to the husbands. And even though my marriage didn't work out, I still stand by that video. Because guess what? Lord willing, I'm going to get married again. And my husband will have a respectful and submitful wife. But what I'm not going to tolerate ever from any man on this planet Earth, or any planet there is you're not loving me, no respect, negligent, dismissive, narcissistic traits, and the list just goes on and on. I'm not going to deal with it. It literally was tearing me apart every day. And I was trying to stick to what the Bible says about either abandonment, adultery, or pretty much like if you're physically abusing the person or something like that. And to my knowledge, he never cheated on me, so from what I know. But he did do some other shady stuff that I probably would use some other fake characters, but y'all gonna get the stories out, okay? But yeah, he didn't abandon me either. So I kind of felt like I stayed longer out of fear of God. It wasn't even about me still having faith in my marriage, because I knew it was never going to get better. I just knew it. But out of fear of God, I was just like, dude, I don't want God to hate me. I don't want to feel like, I failed him. But I had to remember that there's grace in every situation. God will never hate me. God loves me as well as he loves you. He loves his children. Does God get disappointed? Yes, but will he hate me? No. And for the kids' sake, just for our future going forward, it's better that we're not together. Because we're like oil and water, and it just doesn't work. So, yeah, I wish him the best. I'm thankful for the fact that we have 4 beautiful boys. I'm not happy, again, that the house is pretty much split, but they're at peace. You know, of course they miss us together. I don't see them every day. You know, and when they're with me, he doesn't see them every day. And I'm pretty sure that hurts. The boys, they miss that. But in the long run, what hurts them is seeing us fight and argue and tearing each other down and not being really loving the way God wants us to. There was no display of God in the home. And I don't want that for my children. And I'm not going to have that for them. Ever. So that's yeah, that's pretty much where I'm standing at. And like I said, I know again with my mouth pretty much, like the way that I will respond in my anger towards him, I hurt him. But he provoked a lot of an anger from me. And again, I forgive him. But it took a long place for me to get here. And yeah, that's pretty much my update with my marriage. This is part 1. I will have another part that's going to come out to let you guys know the rest of the update where I'm at. Because, yeah, I am starting a new life. And I want to bring you guys along with my journey. And I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. But, yeah. So, yeah. Appreciate if everyone stop asking me about what happened. This is pretty much is what I'm going to give you without, like I said, I can't go into every little detail. But, again, it was just a lot of disrespect. A lot of loveless nights and so forth. It just wasn't healthy. It got very toxic. So that is pretty much, like I said, what I could sum up without going too much into detail. So yeah, keep me in prayer. Keep my boys in prayer, and even pray for him as well. Everyone needs it. And again, I'm glad I'm at the place of forgiveness and no longer bitterness. There are days where sometimes I might find myself crying, or I'll look back and think like, man, what happened? Or I wish I could change things, or I wish this person would have turned different. But it doesn't matter how many times you wish upon a star, wish. You gotta accept the situation for what it is. And again, like I said, I never wanted to be a divorced woman. But at the same time, I'm not going to force myself to stay in a situation that I clearly know has run its course. And the only thing you're waiting for is just for unfortunate and worse things to just keep occurring because you're trying to force something that's no longer meant to be. So that's that. Again, thank you all for the people that's still been here on my channel, even though I haven't been here. I appreciate you all for still sticking by and showing me your support. And again, if you come across this, please pray for me. I don't care if you see this 2 or 3 years later, 5 years later, pray for me. I'm always open to prayer. Pray for my kids. And again, pray for my ex-husband. We all need it. So, yeah, make sure you stay tuned because I'm going to be rolling out the next update about my new life, what's going on with me now currently. And I'm excited to bring you guys along the journey. So I'm going to be doing a lot more talk videos, vlogs, and yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and catch you in my next video.